Hi, welcome to the unit of size reduction. Today we will discuss the unit operation called size reduction, which is of utmost importance in pharmaceutical manufacturing. A size reduction is a process of reducing large solid masses into small unit masses. That means coarse powders or particles are made into very fine powders by milling or size reduction. We know the pharmaceutical substances what we get from the API manufacturer or any other bulk drug companies are many times polydispersed. What do we understand by polydispersed? Any substance which is having several different particle size in it. That means there are large particles, there are small particles, there are a mixture of various sizes of particles in a particular material. We call that material as a polydispersed. A monodispersed material will be having uniform particle sizes. So many times pharmaceutical processing we need this monodispersed particles. So in order to achieve that, we do this size reduction of materials. That is one purpose. There are several more examples of size reduction that we will discuss on the go. And size reduction is carried out by mechanical processes as we are discussing over here. Let us see the objectives of size reduction. Why the size reduction is carried out, or what are the advantages of size reduction? Size reduction mainly helps in content uniformity. As we all know, when a pharmaceutical operations and the manufacturing operations, unless the particle size are not uniform and they are optimum, you cannot achieve a desirable mixing. So for an effective mixing, you need uniform particle sizes or a monodispersed material, powder material that can ensure proper mixing. If there is no proper mixing, there can be a lot of drug content variation in a particular batch. See, another advantage of size reduction or making them monodispersed can be achieving a uniform flow of materials through the machines. While carrying out the production operations, many of the things are automatic and the powder flows through the pipes and hoppers, where in order to achieve a uniform flow, it should have a uniform particle size. Another important area or advantage of size reduction can be to achieve smaller particle size that can be useful in an effective extraction of materials. For example, this is moreover used in extraction of materials from crude drugs, extraction of main constituents from crude drugs. So this crude drugs may be dried and further they are size reduced extensively in order to obtain a better extraction. So smaller particles, what they do is they allow the rapid penetration of menstruum into the cells and the tissues, and it will allow a better and effective extraction. And the time required for extraction is shortened by size reduction of the material. Let us look into another advantage, that is in drying. Many of the times we use wet processes for preparing formulations. Example, if you take the example of tableting, we do a wet granulation where we actually add some water and make the masses wet, and finally the granules you will have to dry them before punching into tablet. So this drying process will be rapid if you reduce the particle size, say let it be a granule or even as a powder. So effective drying is also achieved by size reduction. Another important area is improved physical stability. In case of suspensions and emulsions where you have a biphasic dosage form, the entire stability of this emulsions and suspensions are mainly depending upon the particle size. So this effective reduction in particle size coming into very smaller sizes will drastically reduce the sedimentation, and the emulsions as well as the suspensions will be stable for a longer time in the shelf. Another advantage is the dissolution rate. As we know, any pharmaceutical product which we take orally has to dissolve in the stomach and release the drug into the stomach acid or the contents, and then it will be absorbed. So until the drug is dissolved, it cannot be absorbed. In this situation, having a high dissolution rate is very desirable, and size reduction can help in improving the dissolution rate as well as solubility. And improved absorption is also possible because of size reduction. That is why we are into the new techniques of nanotechnology in pharmaceutical formulations. These nanoparticles are highly size reduced into the nano size ranges, and they can be easily absorbed from the stomach and intestine. Along with advantages, there are certain disadvantages for size reduction. One of such disadvantages is drug degradation. Say, if a drug is size reduced extensively, it has a lot of surface now exposed to the atmosphere. This high exposure of the surface can make them react with the surface particles to the oxygen or moisture in the atmosphere, in the surroundings, and that can cause some degradation, acceleration of the degradation reactions. Thermolabile substances may be sensitive in this case because they are exposed to more amount of heat, more surface is exposed to the atmosphere, and increased surface area can causes problems like oxidation. Hygroscopic substances may absorb more and more amount of water, and in such cases you need a cooling system and milling equipments if the substance is thermolabile, because again the size reduction generates a lot of heat. This heat also can be absorbed by the materials and undergo various reactions. Another disadvantage is poor mixing. We might be wondering how poor mixing is resulted by size reduction. If size reduction goes too extensive, very small particles actually have strong cohesive forces and surface charges. This causes a lot of aggregation of particles, and sometimes they adhere to the walls of the processing machine and all these things, resulting in a poor mixing. Adsorption of air causes or inhibit the wettability of the particles, that makes the particles to float on a liquid when we are trying to dissolve it, and it inhibits sometimes an effective blending also. Say a granule should be mixed with a fine powder, the mixing will be drastically affected due to the size variation. Contaminations is another disadvantage during size reduction, especially in mechanic milling. We use metallic objects to size reduce the particular materials. These metallic objects or the blades and other things may shed some particles into the drug, causing some sort of metallic contaminations in the product. These are to be taken care of.